Alastor, the radio demon, and Death, straight up. Both of these characters are quite misunderstood in terms of their power scaling, usually with people tending to overrate or downplay one or the other. But in a battle of the overrated, who wins in a fight? My name is Umbra, and today we will see who would win in a fight between Alastor and Death. Now before we get started, quick disclaimer. This is not meant to provoke anyone or offend you or attack you personally, just because your favorite character does not win a specific fight. If you are one of those people who are easily offended, whether you are rooting for Alastor or Death, then this video is most likely not for you. But if you are here for fun, have an open mind, and are willing to listen to what I have to say, you are more than welcome to stay. Also, this is just one person's interpretation of a hypothetical fight between two fictional characters that have vastly different scaling and power sets. Cool? Cool. Also, couple of rules for this fight. First off, we are not going to say that Death should automatically win because he is Death, and Alastor has technically already died, therefore he already won, and stuff like that. That's pretty boring for a video. And the second rule is that Alastor will not have access to angelic weapons, especially since we have only seen him use it once, and he did not use them in his fight against Adam. Also, I did want to mention one other thing, specifically for the Helliverse. While the hierarchy can be used to give an idea of how powerful characters can be to each other, overlords being more powerful than your basic sinner, for example, the chart itself is more so referring to political power and social status, and that doesn't necessarily correlate how strong a character is right off the bat. And with all of that out of the way, let us begin. Alastor, known for his radio show, described as an all-powerful demon whose power rivals Hell's greatest evils, killing overlords who ruled for centuries, seemingly overnight. Broadcasting his terror throughout Hell, he is the radio demon. Cool. Awesome. How powerful is he in terms of power scaling? Well, for starters, he would likely be superior to the main cast of IMP, who can combat at hypersonic plus speeds, as well as tank building level attacks, setting up for a good baseline to scale Alastor above them. We've also seen Alastor pretty casually bully Serpentius, as well as destroy his ship, with their encounter in the pilot, Alastor crushing it by creating a portal and dragging it underground, leaving a giant crater, which has been calculated to range from multi-city block to around small town level. Pretty nice. However, we can take his scaling even further by scaling him to Vox, who caused a power outage throughout the entirety of the pentagram. This feat has been calculated, shoutout to Demung, to be mountain level plus, which is a huge jump from the town level scaling. I do believe Alastor should scale to Vox, if not be higher. There is a statement in the show saying that Alastor almost beat Vox. However, we don't really know the conditions or the setting or anything from this sort of fight. Maybe Vox had help, maybe Alastor was under the constraints of his deal, we honestly don't really know. Either way, they should scale to each other. Alastor should also scale to Stolas via statements. These statements from the show saying that Alastor had rivaled Hell's greatest evils, which would likely include the Ars Goetia. In terms of Stolas feats, there aren't too many, but the main one I wanted to talk about was him splitting open the sky. Being able to do this was calculated to have needed 8 gigatons of TNT, or island level. Now, as I mentioned previously, do keep in mind that we haven't seen Alastor or Stolas at their full power yet. Alastor potentially being limited by the constraints of his deal, and Stolas just not having as many concrete feats other than the island level one that we see. I'll go into a bit more potentially higher attack potency scaling later. Now as for speed, we can upscale him off of IMP, as well as Adam, who can tag Lucifer, who is fast enough to dodge his holy light attacks, with this being calculated to be 46% the speed of light. Do keep in mind Lucifer was just toying with Adam, so he's likely faster. However, he should be even faster than Alastor, and we can downscale Alastor from this, seeing as he wasn't fast enough to dodge Adam's light attack when it was coming at him, with him even being confused at what happened. You could make an argument that he did see the attack coming and he blocked it, but didn't know how much damage it would actually do to him, with him being confused, just not realizing his cane was destroyed. Either way you look at it, however, this would still give Alastor speeds as low as Hypersonic Plus to sub-relativistic to relativistic plus speeds, as well as low as town level to island levels of AP. That's a pretty good baseline to get Alastor to for right now. As I mentioned, I'll go into some potential scaling later, but now let's go to his opponent. The Big Bad Wolf, the Grim Reaper, Lobo. He has many names, but you may know him as really Death. Not metaphorically, or rhetorically, or poetically, or theoretically, or in any other fancy way. He is Death, straight up. There are a couple of ways to scale Death. The first one scaling him off other mortal characters in the Shrekverse. This would include the likes of Puss in Boots, Shrek, and yes, Humpty Dumpty. But anyway, this would include Dragon as well, who can create a hole through a mountain with a single blast. Dragon's fire has been calculated to range anywhere from as low as town level to around mountain level, while its higher ends ranging from island level to small country level. Keep in mind that Puss has been able to harm Shrek, and Shrek can tank Dragon's fire. Also keep in mind that Puss has also defeated many ogres in the past before, hence his introduction in the second movie. This would also be somewhat consistent as well, since in the Puss in Boots show, Puss fights an ice creature named Tim, yes, his name is Tim, who Puss in his younger years had actually beaten before. In the show, Tim was able to disperse a magical storm that blocked out the entire sun. This feat has been calculated to range from city to mountain level. Puss was able to beat Tim, and even took hits from him as well. However, if you don't like that line of scaling, we can actually scale Death above the Wishing Star, seeing as he walked right through its magical barrier. While you could try to make the case about him walking through the Wishing Star as simply a resistance to deconstruction, however, if that was the case, then Death would have been pulled by the Wishing Star's power still, since it pulls people up, along with killing them once they're fully engulfed. The scene is clearly meant to demonstrate that Death is above the Wishing Star's power, nor does he fear it, seeing as he practically dares Puss to use it within their fight. So, what does the Wishing Star scale to? Well, the Wishing Star upon its impact on Earth, in which it scorched many trees, which has been calculated to be around mountain level. However, we've also seen the Wishing Star completely alter the Dark Forest, based on whoever is holding the map, changing its obstacles and landscape within mere seconds, with its energy output being calculated to be over 124 teratons of TNT, or large country level. And Death walked right through it. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. How could Death scale above the Wishing Star? After all, Puss in Boots was able to get the upper hand on Death in their fight, and even make him quote-unquote bleed in their fight. First off, there is no blood. He was only rubbing the spot he was kicked, with Puss even before the final fight not even managing to hit Death in any of their encounters. So of course he'd be a little surprised that Puss even managed to hit him. Also, Death later states at the end of their fight that he was only playing with his food, so he was holding back this whole time. And this is after Puss acknowledges that he knows he can never truly defeat Death. It's completely in character for Death to be holding back here. He wanted to enjoy this. He wanted to enjoy taking Puss in Boots' life, seeing as he only rage quits when he sees that Puss is no longer the same cat he was. You know, the arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal. And Puss getting the upper hand was more so to demonstrate his growth. Now as for speed, he would be superior to Puss in Boots, who is superior to Shrek and Donkey, who we have seen react to arrow fire. However, in Puss in Boots' TV show, we actually see Puss dodge magical lightning, which has been calculated to be as low as massively hypersonic, to around relativistic plus, or 50% the speed of light. However, we can even take this even a step further by looking at Puss in Boots' fight with the Blood Wolf. The Blood Wolf shoots lightning into the sun, which has been calculated to be over 500 times faster than the speed of light, or MFTL, the same lightning that we see Puss in Boots react to by blocking. This is also consistent with a character named Dulcinea, who is comparable to Puss in Boots, being able to match him in combat, and also react to the same lightning. Keep in mind that Death was able to completely blitz Puss in Boots' perception within their bar fight. Now with all that, this would mean Death skills anywhere from as low as town level to large country levels of AP. And as for speed, he would range from massively hypersonic to relativistic plus speeds, and its highest end being MFTL, or over 500 times faster than the speed of light. So just basing everything off the scaling so far, it's pretty clear that Death has the advantage. In terms of potency, or at least concrete potency, paired with his speed, and would likely overwhelm Alastor before he has a chance to really do anything. However, I haven't talked about any of their abilities or any sort of hacks that either characters have. Maybe Alastor has something up his sleeve that can give him the advantage. Alastor has a large amount of abilities that he can use. However, I'll go over the relevant ones. The first being portal creation, in which he can spawn his giant tentacle thingies and attack people. He can also disappear into shadows and also travel as one, and also use them to attack. He can also create explosions as big as the hotel. Not to mention, he also has a demon form, which he can increase his size. He can use his voodoo magic to create a giant force field. And those are honestly all the relevant abilities, at least of the ones I could find. But if I missed any, please do let me know. Now, what about Death? What sort of abilities does he have? We've seen Death being able to teleport on multiple occasions. We also know he's able to manipulate fire and create it with his sickles. He can also manipulate people's perception with no one else in the crowd being able to see or hear him, only until he decided to be seen. And in all honesty, those are the main abilities that Death has. However, even though Alastor has more than he does, none of Alastor's abilities are really going to give him a lasting advantage over Death. Death is just too fast with much greater potency. And he would likely cut through anything that Alastor throws at him. Now, what about the potential scaling that I had mentioned earlier? Well, first, let me address a certain feat that I'm sure a lot of people are going to bring up, which is the argument that since Alastor should compare to Stolas, Stolas has a supposed solar system level feat. So this means that Alastor should be solar system level, right? After all, the stars move and behave abnormally. Not only that, but going by real world lore, the Ars Goetia have star properties. So Stolas should be star to solar system level, right? Now, while I do understand what people are saying, there are many problems of using this line of scaling, as well as just this feat in general. And it's more so due to the fact that there's no implication that any magic is being used at all within this scene. Also in later episodes, Stolas confirms that without his grimoire, his power in the mortal realm is actually limited. Also, if Stolas really had the ability to control stars and planets, then he wouldn't have actually been affected by anything that was happening around him. Everything would be adhering to him, Or there would at least be some sort of visual way to see that he was controlling everything around him. And even then, there's nothing to really scale here, other than the friction between him and the moon, as well as the stars' energy around him, which has been calculated, and it really isn't as impressive as it visually seems, with it being calculated to be only as low as building level to around large town level. But what about the explosion? He resisted the explosion, right? Well, no, actually looking back, he's actually through his portal before the explosion could reach him. So it wouldn't even scale to his durability. Well, then how do you explain the planets moving abnormally then? Well, it's most likely just meant to be a visually impressive feat that fits with the song. You've seen this done before within the series. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm not completely dismissing the idea that Stolas could be solar system level. I think it would make sense considering he has ties to the real-world Ars Goetia that have star properties. However, there's just too many problems with using this supposed feat in an argument, and the only other thing that would be scalable here would be Stolas' speed, from getting to the star back to the portal, which puts his travel speed at around 2 times faster than light. Again, I'm not completely dismissing the idea that he could be, but it's more of a could be than a likely, in all honesty. But again, we haven't seen Stolas go all out or his full power yet, so who knows? So, is that it? Does Death just win? Is there no way to get Alastor even higher? Well, there is a potential way, and that involves a statement in the beginning of the first episode of Hazbin Hotel, with it saying that the angels expanded the universe. Now, this in and of itself is pretty vague, and it could be interpreted in many different ways, and the one that I think makes the most sense is by saying that the angels created the planets and the stars, which would actually scale to their AP, seeing as they most likely used light energy that they have. And Adam also uses this same light within his attacks, meaning that this creation feat should scale to their potency. However, there are a couple of problems with this as well. First off, Adam isn't even the same kind of angel that Sarah or Emily are. Not only that, but Alastor himself would most likely not even scale to them in the first place. However, you know what? Let's give it to him anyway. Let's say Alastor can reach planetary to star levels of scaling. How does Death compare to this now? Well, Death actually has planetary to star level scaling as well. We see that in Jack Horner's vision globe. If his wish had been granted, he would have been able to destroy the entire planet. Now, this is actually pretty consistent since within the show, there's magic that's powerful enough to take planetary explosions. And we can get Death to star level by actually using the TV show again. You see, there's actually a star within the Puss in Boots show, who is not just any star, but is actually another wishing star. And this star actually talks and has a full consciousness. However, at the end of the show, the star dies. Now, the star itself is quite big compared to the rest of the Earth, so you could argue that Death has gotten to wishing stars before, with even the one in the Dark Forest even having some sort of consciousness, based off what the map is saying. So with that, you can actually get Death to planetary to star levels of scaling. And with this, surely we would have more of a fight, right? Well, sadly, it still doesn't favor Alastor at all. Death is still much faster. And even though they share similar potency now, it still is in Death's favor. However, there's something I actually didn't mention. And it's the fact that sinners, and angels in particular, can only truly be killed by angelic weapons.
Did that guy in the trailer that got crushed, or in the clip that got crushed by a rock for the drugs?
He's probably not dead, knowing the kind of energy of the show. Like, you just kind of, you can get, messed up and be okay. right now, I have it so that the only way you can really die is by an angel. Like, only angels can kill the demons in this universe. And and
that makes sense.
And the demons in hell have kind of harnessed that almost, where they kind of there's kind of a black market. So the most powerful demons in this world,
weapons.
yeah, exactly. They save them once the extermination happens, and there's a lot of like remnants, like spears and whatever they used. They kind of like collect that, and then there's like a black market. So demons can kill each other, but only with like the salvaged angel stuff. So that's one thing that I do think like kind of keeps that probably won't change.
So even though Death is clearly able to damage Alastor and hurt him, does he possess the means to kill him? Well, based off implications, there actually could be a way for Death to win in a fight to the death. And it's due to the fact that fire within the Shrek verse is actually able to harm souls. We see this within Shrek 4D. There's really nothing to suggest that Death, who can also produce fire, wouldn't be able to do the same. And Death is also able to harm souls, as we've seen in the Cave of Lost Souls. Puss was going to wish for his lives back. However, Death actually destroys all of his past lives, and then asks Puss if he's going to wish for more of them, which implies that the lives that Puss once had are gone now. I can completely understand if you don't really like this line of reasoning, so take it what you will. In a fight between these two, Death completely outskills a current Alastor, and even if you take Alastor up to planetary to star levels of scaling, Death has his own planetary to star levels of scaling. While even with them being on a more active playing field, assuming that Alastor would even scale this high, then the outcome would still likely not change, with Death just being much faster, and having all that he needs to put the radio demon another 6 feet under. So, with all of that, Death wins. At least for now. But who knows? Maybe we'll see Stolas create a solar system with his powers. Maybe we'll get a better idea of what sort of things his power can do. Or maybe we'll see him destroy or consume the entire planet with his tentacle thingies. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it if you guys made it this far. This is vastly different than my normal content, but if you like it, then feel free to sub. Let me know in the comments, and thank you guys so much for watching. And with that, peace. See you guys in the next one.